Welcome, Monksane YouTuber, or previously known as Monksane Gamer, here with a more, how do I say this, ranting of a video. Yeah, this is probably going to be my first time ranting and we'll be talking about my top 10 favorite movies of all time. These are my personal picks, my opinions, so yeah, let's get into it. I'll be uploading more often on the Monksane YouTuber channel, more than before. The gaming channel, I'm probably gonna wait on that. Not even though there's more subs on there, I feel like my videos, my other creativity belongs here. The other channel is more for gaming wise. So with that out of the way, let's go down my fucking top 10 favorite movies of all time. Or wait, let me reintroduce that. Monksane YouTuber presents my top 10 favorite movies of all time with a bad mic. Number 10, Horns. Fresh out of a couple years out of his Harry Potter movies, which is completely. If it was top 20, then the Harry Potter series would be on this list. But we're gonna talk about one of my favorite Daniel Radcliffe solo movies, which is Horns, and it's about his girlfriend getting murdered and him trying to mourn through it, and then through some circumstances, which are never explained in the movie, he grows these horns, and people start confessing to him their deepest, darkest desires, whatever, and he's not understanding why. So he's basically kind of like a supernatural hero in a way, getting supernatural powers. And what I like about this movie is that it brings you on this roller coaster ride of him being human to struggling to be human with these horns and supernatural abilities. But in the end, you see him embrace them in order to bring his girlfriend's killer to justice. And I did say I was going to spoil stuff, but I'm probably not going to talk anymore about the movie. I'd recommend it if you love Daniel Radcliffe's work, especially if you like him in Harry Potter. I'd say this is a good movie on its own, or his own good solo movies, and he probably has a much of a long career ahead of him to be in more other supernatural movies. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Number 9, The Man from Nowhere. This is a Korean film about a man from nowhere. Title says it all. If I were to say anything more about this movie, it would spoil everything else. But basically, it's about a guy in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's put in a situation that he can't back out of, and becomes a badass out of it. Without saying too much about the movie and spoiling it, I'm just gonna say my opinion on this is that it took a big turn, unexpected turn. I expected his identity or backstory to be something cliche, but it was kind of unexpected, but then it's kind of cliche at the same time. But what I like most about this movie is the darkness, grittiness of it, and how violent it gets, or not. It doesn't get really violent, but it gets on a dark level violent. And the moment that long hair goes away, shit gets real. Shit gets real. Now why this is number 9 is because it was a number 10 before I saw Horns, but I pushed it forward, and now it's my number 9 most favorite movie. I like how it would explain Horns. It was a roller coaster ride of epic proportions. I almost fucking rolled my tongue there. And has a good story of telling of a man trying to find a kid who befriended him, and a detective who's also trying to track down and find out about his background. Overall, this movie will make you feel the feels and make you feel the hate he has towards the people who kidnaps this girl. You will really feel the feels. I promise you. Once Upon a Time in High School. Once Upon a Time in High School is a rather good movie. Well, according to my opinion, anyways. It really captures the. Well, I have more to say about this movie because I've seen it a lot of times, unlike the other two. This is one of my favorite movies because it really captures the, I guess, the feeling of youth in high school or whatever. This movie's about a transferee named Kwansu who goes to this military school. Takes place in the 70s, which is why the school system looks weird and why they have uniforms. So it takes place in the 70s, and it has all that high school cliche bullshit. There's the love triangle, love story, the all cool guys hang out. It's basically a guys movie, but then it could be viewed by girls also, from a perspective, I guess you could say. It feels like a coming of age movie in a way, and like short, what was it? Short drama, short K drama, I guess you could say. And it has some pretty good fight sequences. But don't let the trailer fool you. It's not a full-on action movie. It's more drama, drama-related movie, which is what I like about it. It really you really feel for the characters because you know you've been in that position before. Maybe not that intensive a position, but well, you were there, kind of experiencing it. Which is why makes number 8 of my list of all-time favorite movies.
우리들의 학원 액션 로망. 말죽거리 잔혹사.
Number 7, The Butterfly Effect. Butterfly Effect is a movie that most people would probably know about, since people who's grown around the late 90s to early 2000s, whatever, that have seen it at a certain age or whatever. This movie is kind of like Once Upon a Time in High School, with a supernatural element added into it. So this movie is about a guy named Evan who grows up having these blackouts or whatever. Like he'll be in some sort of situation, whatever, and then blacks out, and then like he's somewhere here without knowing where what happened. Then as he grows into an adult, he realizes that it's actually him going subconsciously or through his brain back in time, like sending his brain back through time to live at a certain point with the same knowledge he has as an adult. So by doing that, he's able to go change certain events in his life and then changes the outcome. But with most time traveling movies, we know shit never goes well. So he'll be at a certain point where things are great, and then he'll do something that makes it go bad and have to go back and fix it. And as he keeps on repeating this, we all know how time travel movie goes. The process goes bad, something happens, whatever, blah blah blah, and then the more you time travel, the more collateral damage you cause. So that's how this movie treats itself. It goes from what it would be like to change your life to the collateral damage it would cause if you kept on repeating the time travel event. So yeah, that's what I like about this movie. It's a supernatural time traveling movie, and you really feel for the character. And Ashton Kutcher is a great actor in this one. You really feel his emotions and whatever. And slight spoiler, you also get to see how he kind of develops into his father, and I think we just saw him there in the trailer. So yeah, that's why this is on my list of all-time favorite movies. Number 6, City Hunter. Oh man, I fucking love me some Jackie Chan movies, and you'll probably see why as we go through the list. City Hunter was one of my first Jackie Chan films. It's what got me into watching Jackie Chan, and this is probably one of my most favorite movies of him, because of how comedic it is. City Hunter is actually based off a anime slash manga, which is actually more serious in tone, but then still has a slight tad bit of silliness to it. But we're not here to talk about the manga. We're here to talk about the movie with Jackie Chan in it. So yeah, this movie was famous for the part where they transformed into the Street Fighter characters, which I'm pretty sure was what made this movie well known for. But while I enjoy that part, I also enjoyed was the whole movie itself in a whole. It's basically about Jackie Chan, City Hunter, a private detective who's supposed to find a daughter of a Japanese CEO, and then he eventually goes on this crazy ass adventure on a cruise ship, trying to find her and while save the whole cruise ship from terrorists. That's all I'm gonna say for the film because it has a ton of great moments, just like the Street Fighter sequence. But if I were you, or and you haven't seen this Jackie Chan movie or whatever, or want a good martial arts movie, I wouldn't recommend this as a martial arts movie. But if you want martial arts comedy action, kind of like Stephen Chow in a way, which is also a movie I will get to afterwards, but I'd recommend City Hunter. It has a lot of comedic moments, good moments. But overall, if I were you, I would probably watch it without the English dub. English dub is very cheesy, and I probably only watch it if you want some nostalgia. If not, then watch the English subtitled version. Yeah, this movie has great. This is like a. If I was a spy, this would be the life I want. Which is why I put City Hunter as number 6 on my list. Number 5, Man of Steel. Man of Steel. Oh man, I fucking love me some DC movies. Not that I don't like Marvel either. I have a great opinion on both, but I just prefer DC because of the darkness and grittiness of it, I guess. But it's growing. The DC universe as of now, as I'm making this video, is sort of growing out of the darkness and grittiness, but still keeping a small element of it. Anyways, Man of Steel. Why I put it on number 5 on my list is because it gives me a whole. It gives you a whole new perspective on Man of Steel or Superman himself. I saw this trailer and it was announced, and I had no zero hope in any DC movies anymore. Like Batman was cool and all, but I wasn't feeling Dark Knight at the time because I wanted a true superhero, like someone who actually had powers. And before I went to watch this movie, I was a Marvel fanboy because they all had superpowers. Well, except Iron Man. But we're not here to. Okay, I'm getting off track here. But once Man of Steel came out, I had some hope that we would get a Superman in the sense or with the tone of the Dark Knight movie. And I walked in not knowing anything, didn't read any DC news, whatever. All I knew was that it was going to have some sort of generic or classic Superman villain. And as a fan of the animated series from the 90s, I was excited, but then at the same time, I didn't know what to expect. And when I walked into that theater, it was it was an amazing take on it. I loved Watchmen, and I thought Zack Snyder did a great job. I don't know why this movie got so much hate. Like was it because it ruined the iconic image of Superman? But in a way, I like this movie because of how it modernized Superman and how he would be viewed in today's kind of world. Like how in the I respect the Christopher Reeves Superman, but I like this one more because it's like my generation Superman. The visuals in this movie are great. The effects are also good for the time, but what I like most about it is how they treat Superman not as a superhero, but more like a threat that eventually becomes their hero in the end. And the way he becomes the hero is very sad, but then also very powerful in a way. Number 4, the Evil Dead trilogy. I couldn't pick just one of the movies from the Evil Dead trilogy, so I had to choose all three, the 1 through 3, because they were my first horror movies I grew up with. Yes, grew up with. I was I watched the second one at a very very young age, probably like younger than I was supposed to, and it scared the living crap out of me. But now it's become my most favorite horror movie ever. Ash vs. Evil Dead and the remake in 2010 or whatever, I enjoy those. The TV show right now, I'm loving it. And the remake paid very good tribute to the original trilogy. But, anyways, about the movies. It's the horror movie cliche. 5 college students go into a cabin in the woods. They discover a book of the dead bound in human flesh. I'm not going to quote the whole movie. and for some stupid reason, they decide to either read from it or play a tape that has a recording of someone reading it, and they unleash these demons from the woods that possess their friends one by one, and then each of them has to kill the possessed friends. And this would have been a quick rant if I chose one movie, but since I chose all three, I'm gonna have to rant about all of them. Part one, which is the trailer that is playing right now, is more horror related, and I'd say it's the most scariest out of all the movies. And it really has a few tense moments and unsettling moments, which I'm not gonna spoil, but I'd recommend the first one if you're into classic horror or just want a good horror classic movie to watch. Now, the trailer playing right now is Evil Dead 2, which is kind of a remake and a sequel to the first one in a way. But I like part 2 also because of how it expands on the story and gives it introduces the people that originally owned the cabin, and it develops the character or the character Ash Williams, and it transforms him from a scared dude to a badass hero. And of course this is where the iconic chainsaw arm is also shown, and this is where we get the birth of the Ash Williams we all know and love to this day. Great special effects, great visuals, especially the blood animations. And now the third trailer that is about to play after this is Army of Darkness, which is the sequel to Evil Dead 2. And it might spoil the ending of 2, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Whatever. He travels back through time in the after the end of Evil Dead 2, and he's trapped in the medieval times, 1300 AD, and he's forced to fight his way out of it after he screws up a few words that were simple to remember. And he's forced to lead this medieval army against an army of the dead, including an evil version of himself. And this also develops the Ash character way more because of how the second movie develops him as a badass, but then this one develops him as a witty character and kind of an asshole type character. And this is where Bruce Campbell really shines because he has more dialogue, unlike the second one and first one. And it's comedic, which was a very big turn away from the regular horror. It was a turn from the regular horror, but I enjoyed it because it gave it that classic movie. I recommend all three if you're looking for a trilogy to watch. If you're looking for a horror movie, I recommend the first Evil Dead. You want an action horror, I recommend Evil Dead 2. If you want just a fun action and comedy horror, go with Army of Darkness. Number 3, the Cornetto trilogy. The Cornetto trilogy, if some of you don't know, is actually a trilogy consisting of 3 very awesome movies, in my opinion. It's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. It stars the greatest comedy duo ever, or in my opinion, one of the greatest comedy duos ever. It would be Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And Edgar Wright, I love what he does with these films. He makes it a fun buddy movie, a fun buddy adventure movie. It seems like the movie seems like an adventure I would love to have with my friends too. Especially and I love the chemistry between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It's just so there's just something about it. This is so awesome. It's like having your own. It's like you look at their friendship as your own friendship in a way. Anyways, about the movie, Shaun of the Dead pokes fun at the Romero zombie flicks, whatever, and has a lot of humor in it, and action, and some emotion. Then Hot Fuzz pokes fun at the cop movies, and has more of a cop feel to it, good cop, bad cop, whatever. and a slight tad bit plot twist. I don't know if it was a big plot twist to anyone else, but it was a big plot twist to me. And if you watch it, you'll probably see what the plot twist is. Not much to talk about Hot Fuzz, but The World's End is the definitive buddy movie, and with an unexpected ending also. It's about a group of friends going to, what is it? Multiple. They're bar hopping and getting a drink from each bar. They're reuniting after like 10 or 20 years after they did it as college students, and then shit goes down, which I'm not gonna spoil. I love these movies. They're like the greatest buddy adventure movies ever, and I love that scene.
The Cornetto Trilogy.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Number 2, A Chinese Odyssey, parts 1 and 2. The Chinese Odyssey is it's a take on the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, and without spoiling too much of the movie, because I'd say this is a movie you would have to watch on your own to like. It's comedic, and it's split in 2 parts. If you don't know, it's A Chinese Odyssey, Pandora's Box, and A Chinese Odyssey, Cinderella. But it has no relations to the Disney stories or whatsoever. It's its own take on the Sun Wukong Monkey King storyline, and it's a rather very good take on it. You get to see Monkey King be human and go back to becoming Monkey King, and you get a little bit of romance there, action there, and a lot of comedy, because you know how Stephen Chow rolls. If you watch his movies, there's a lot of comedy in it. So I recommend watching this movie. The ending is, oh god, a lot of feels, but overall it's pretty good, and it's what spawned the movie, which is on Netflix, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I think it's called Judging the Demons. Journey to the West, Judging and Killing Demons, something like that. It's a prequel to A Chinese Odyssey and tells about the monk and all the other characters before they become who they originally were. That's basically about it. And I would also recommend Journey to the West after watching A Chinese Odyssey. And number 1, The Myth. Yes, when I talked about mentioning another Jackie Chan movie on my list, it was going to be my number 1 pick. I made The Myth my number 1 pick because of how it plays with the concept of reincarnation and how he's able to dream about his past life in the present time. The other thing I like about this movie is how it has something, as you would say, a love story that spans 1,000 years, something like that. And we really get to see that with his past life flashbacks. And then with his present life, we get to see how he's just a regular guy, like an archaeologist. And then when it flashes back to his past, we see him as a old warring kingdom soldier. This also might be kind of a spoiler, but then I like how they have items that connect his present life with his past life. Like there's a sword he wielded in his past life. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. There's also a very powerful scene that we just saw a scene of where he's handed his sword from his past life that he doesn't understand, and he fights for it, and then it flashes back from his past to the present, and how it's like a spiritual connection. And that scene is very powerful, in my opinion. And so this ends my list of top 10 favorite movies of all time. This was all improvised, and I had to re-edit a lot of shit, but I'd say I did good for my first top 10 list, even though the talking over the trailers and having an opinion about it was hard to try to form together without having a script. So I'd say I did good, and if you want to see more top 10 list or other videos, just sub to Mong Sane YouTuber, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.